Um, I think it's it's about materialism. Unfortunately, reason why we can't raise our kids. We can't keep making excuses up as to why we are not raising effective children. Um, Children need your time. That's just it is. That just is what it is. I was very young when I had all four of my children, and my kids, I could spend $200 on all four of their shoes. I never raised them materialistic that way. That wasn't my goal. Being neat, clean, you could dress the best, going to the thrift store, dressing really good. I know people with money and they go to the thrift store and dress. It's really your mindset. And if you and the thing is, you have to value something like an education as well. That'll teach you to not be so materialistic. And I think that when we look at needing two parents, look, somebody got to concede. Somebody have got to just say, you know what, you can work. I know when I was married, my ex-husband worked two jobs. I did not work while the kids were young, and they were, under school age. I do believe that the woman should be at home with the child. We keep making excuses. I know that guy was trying to make excuses on, well, it's two people in the home, two people, they both got to work and they both got to do this. And just like what Lash was saying, you know, um, having these expensive cars, I mean, I'm a Range Rover driver, but I don't live in the hood. But I get what you're saying. They do that. They still trying to have these. I mean, you trying to drive an Escalade with two kids instead of saying, you know what, let's get this minivan. This is going to be more cost effective for us. So I think it's the lifestyle is playing a role in how people are trying to raise their kids too. As far as us African Americans, we all about the show. We all about, oh, if they got on Boss or if they have on, Louis Vuitton, that they got money. I look at them the total opposite because of where I raised my children at, and all mainly YT people. I specifically put them in YT school, whereas a majority of them, because I knew that with those kids having more money, they were less materialistic. I would go to big, humongous houses out in East Lansing, Michigan, and Okemos, and anybody know about that area. And those kids be having little shoes and pay less, but they got a 7-bedroom house. It's really the mindset that we have as African American people, reason why we keep raising our kids to be what to be the way they are, you know. And it hurts us the most. We can't just keep blaming money. We just can't. We can't. Kids need your time.
Mhm.
Kids need that. I'm just saying.
Do y'all think this would ever cause or compel both parents to feel like, oh, we both got to have a purpose and we both got to go and work, inadvertently allowed the society to raise our kids? And now when we look at society and wonder why it's got different, our kids are more likely to not even follow our standards that come from our household, is because we been conditioned to feel like we both have to be working to a passion or a purpose in order to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And what that does is it causes us to not have the leverage over our kids' thinking, upbringing, and how they shape themselves into a development, or how they develop themselves into a human being.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't
I
even
what? No,
go
I was
ahead.
going 100% agree with you, but it's like collectively we played a better than you game. Like as a household,
Mm-hmm.
if you didn't make this much money and you haven't taken this type of trip and you don't have this standard of living, then our collectively, and it's not just our community in America in general. Most communities will play the have and have nots game and then treat you according to that. So there are people who always say, I need to always be striving for my next level up, my next raise, my next plateau, my at the expense of the family. And like we preconditioned to believe that leveling up is the thing that's best for the family when it potentially may be, like you said, figuring out what emotionally regulation needs to be done so your marriage don't fall apart, or figuring out what your kids need so they have the proper guidance, as opposed to you could buy them a Range Rover, a Bentley, and have just kids that turn out really messed up because
Mm-hmm.
all you doing is placating them with lack of emotional support and being overly materialistic. And those kids, ironically, tend to value time, the one thing you will not be able to give them. it's ironic how like we kind of walk that tightrope between giving just enough that nobody's deficient, but also having enough time to be present. Like I just went to the extreme and became extremely present, but I also
Mhm.
know that it has to shift at some point. You know what I mean?
So I wouldn't
Right.
be wrong. I wouldn't be wrong if I said whatever movement compelled women or allowed, you can use whatever term, to leave the kids up to society or the daycare or whatever to raise your kids is causing most of the problems we have when it comes to YNs, kids not intact with their gender at birth and all this, whatever you want to call it. One
Mhm.
can make the argument that if the mother was on top of it, I think mother was doing a good job at one point in history where none of that shit was even allowed to be instilled into the kid's head.
Mhm.
So now we don't have anybody there. So the kids are vulnerable from here on out. And it,
Well, mama trying to, everybody, like you say, everybody, I got goals, I got to do this. Look, I was a pre-med student. Okay. Anybody know me? I went to University of Alabama in Huntsville. I dropped out of pre-med school. My goal was to become a doctor, but I'm like, how am I going to do this with 3 kids at the time, a husband? It wasn't happening. So, but I tell you one thing: the best outcome was seeing those boys of mine, grown men, and that's the best outcome of life. Now I'm out taking care, doing things myself. It's a better outcome, to me, just seeing your kids. Because, like I'm saying, we get all the education in the world, but our kids are reading at a fourth grade level. Like pour into your kids. That's going to be the best outcome, because at best you're going to get older. You're not going to work half these careers anymore. You're going to want to quit if they don't terminate you. I'm just saying, you're going to get sick, and you put all this for money, and you're not valuing your children. and
but you
and
was
now
you was
you're
around you was
older.
around whenever you was around when the term was trendy or prevalent. Mama don't play that. Mama don't play that was a term that where you knew. But now today
Mhm.
it's more like mama's actually behind that movement. So it's
you
like,
know
damn, like it's
I
right,
want to ask y'all a question. I want to ask y'all a question. So,
Mhm.
dating now, right? Or not dating? Yeah, dating. You guys have a child, and the mom is in a better position to financially provide. Like, if you guys are talking about sacrifice, would you guys be okay if the mother went out and worked while the father stayed at home?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's not, it's all about the needs of the child. Matter of fact, it'll be better. That was my setup with me and my ex-husband. If I can go to medical school, I would let him quit and he'd stay home with the kid. That was what I wanted to do, that. So it wouldn't bother me at all. But yeah, I think that would be good. As long as you're making the money, absolutely. I think it'll be best.
I
And my
I
don't,
think.
thing
I get really concerned when people are saying that like um the mom needs to start staying at home simply
Hmm.
because um what I'm going through right now is my oldest daughter's in a summer camp, and like I've said before, prior to like this year she's been homeschooled and it's just been like extracurriculars, maybe like dance or swim or something.
Hmm.
But now that she is around other kids for a significant amount of time,
Hmm.
I don't want to sound like I'm trying to judge anybody else's parenting, but it's like
Hmm.
for her to be 9 coming home saying that she's getting called B words,
Really?
who are these kids
Cool.
at home with? Because she didn't know certain words or certain like slangs or lingos
Hmm.
before she got to that camp. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So it makes
Mhm.
me concerned when we're pushing for like, oh yeah, the mom should stay home because
Oh, mom's not good
who
mom.
are these mamas that are having these kids? Because my daughter didn't know certain music, she didn't know certain rappers, she didn't know certain words, she wasn't saying certain stuff, and I'm like, they said what to you there?
You
And this is going on in front of the teachers, and the teachers are like
not saying nothing.
not correcting this. Like that's a big thing that I'm now looking
Mhm.
at, because now that I'm trying to like, she's getting to closer to teen years and puberty and all
Mhm.
that, and I'm pushing for like her to have social interaction. It's very hard who to pick that social interaction with, because it like society is giving, like, parenting is going down the drain.
You gotta teach her.
Like,
Yeah, it is.
You gotta definitely teach her to be a
I was-
leader, because I know when my sons, when they got older, like, you know, some of their friends were starting doing like elite, you know, little drugs, as what kids do. They had to learn how to disassociate themselves from that. You know, most of them are even they're unalive. Some of them are even unalive now. But you know, it really does take teaching her how to be a leader, because it's gonna happen. This world
but
is
like, even with, I didn't know kids that age was talking about vaping. Like,
oh yeah,
you got a
honey.
vape dealer at the school where they go and
Worse than
steal the vapes and sell them. And I'm
honey,
like,
those
what?
kids were
You're
drinking
like,
sanitizer. They were drinking hand sanitizer. Again, that's little elementary school kids. Another teacher told me this. They were
Crazy.
getting drunk off hand sanitizer. Those kids are off the chain, honey. I'm telling you.
My 6-year-old came home and told me that the girls in her class started a group called the Baddies. And I was like, the Baddies? She was like, yeah, they said I can't be in the Baddies. I'm like, you don't want to be in the Baddies. She was like, I know. I'm like, you know what? We're going to have so I took her on a ride and I drove her like through the city, and I was showing her where the Baddies end up. And then, you know, it was a prostitution block. I was like, this is where Baddies usually end up at. So we drove down there. I showed her some homeless women too. And then went back to the house and I showed her the start of it. I'm like, you gotta come sit down. Baddies East, I think it is, or one of them. I was like, this is what these girls is talking about emulating. I don't ever want to see you out here acting like this. This the wrong path. You got to understand what they doing and talking about. So I sat down and talked her through that whole thing. I think she still kind of looked like all the girls that formed a clique, and she liked that aspect, but she don't want to be no baddie, according to what she's been telling me. But I took the time to really like pick her brain and show her a whole lot of stuff about that.